Old school Paul, new school Justin. Man, y'all still going to school though. Sit down, listen up. Father, son, y'all think it's just another one. Fade the Vader, they be grading players, all it's done is made the piper pay me, and they've been grinding lately. Up late, hit the waivers, don't hate the player, hate me. It's just a Game Boy, never gifted one on Christmas. Instead I asked for ships to hit everything off my wish list. Check the litmus, do y'all really not get this? Hit this triangular shaped button, I don't want you to miss this. But I guess that's really none of my business. Me risky free, cruise with Paul and Justin just listening. Yards after contact and catch, that's a lot of distance. The kind of info make me wanna blow opponents' kisses. But I gotta be clear, there is one key difference. Relationship is deep in this vein of ellipses. Like how Justin agreed to washing all the dishes. I'm just grateful Paul turned the miss into the misses. Father, son, pie, get down on the get down. If you don't get it now, then get out. Father, son, pie, sit down and get rich now. If you're not feeling it now, then get out.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Father-Son Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Paul.
My name is Justin, and this week for our DFS plays, we are also joined by Matt. What's going on, Matt? We had him on last week.
What's up, Matt?
Hey, not much, guys. Thanks for having me back. It was a blast talking DFS last week. I'm glad to be back this week.
Yeah, we like talking to people who know a lot about DFS, and I think Matt's one of those guys in the industry definitely coming up in DFS, and that's your main thing, and hopefully you get more recognition for it. With you guys are doing FF merch with Stompy, right?
Yeah. The actually this week on ffmerch.com, we finally came out with our first content. Stompy's doing his weekly start sit. I'm doing a weekly DFS value series article, which is skipping through all the high price guys and just going through some sneaky dudes you can throw into your lineup.
Yeah, awesome. So definitely go check that out. You know, Stompy, you haven't had Stompy on in a while, but Stompy's dad, you face him this week in Listener League or no? You don't face him yet.
No, but if in case you're listening, Stomp me. I know you probably are. You lost last week. And I'm in second place. You guys were laughing at me when I was 0-1. Here I am. Look at me.
Here I am. We're me and him are both undefeated in the FF statistics staff league, and we face each other this week. So we got the showdown this week.
Who's gonna win?
That's what it's all about. Yep. The talk after. That's what it's all about.
Who's got the better team, Matt?
I'm favored to win, but it's like by 6. So I mean, whatever, toss up.
Good matchup.
I got off to a good start with Aaron Jones and my completely unearned like 18 points.
Yeah, it's very
I guess the receiving work was earned enough, but yeah, it didn't feel like an 18-point performance. That's for sure.
Nah, sell high on Aaron Jones. I said that last week, and that stays true this week. Devontae Adams last night. We'll recap that real quick. He looked, amazing until like the last play when he went down with a turf toe injury. So this week on Tuesday, I was buying low on Devontae Adams. I sent out a trade offer, and it was Derrick Henry, McCole Hardman, and Tevin Coleman for Devontae Adams and Jamal Williams. And this guy didn't even look at it at all. So I go to work last night, and I'm working as a restaurant server. So we got busy around like 8 o'clock, and this dude accepts the trade at 8:01. I didn't even see it, and wasn't able to put Devontae Adams in my lineup. So it kind of hurts a little bit, right, Dad? 32 points on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, there's nothing you can do. You didn't look at it. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's a weird trade at 8:02, but are you playing him this week? Maybe he got you.
No, I'm not playing. I played him last week and I beat him. I mean, you and I are both in second and third. Now I got Odell, Hopkins, and Adams. That's fun, but Adams I'm probably going to look to trade away because of this injury, which sucks. I just got him, but we'll see.
Well, if he's hurt, like we were talking before, and Matt said, there's a chance he might not come back this season. You're not going to get nothing for him.
Turf toe.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, not necessarily not come back, but I mean, people come back all the time. He probably will be back in a few weeks, but if they rush him back, sometimes these things have a tendency to people tend to re-injure themselves, and then you're out for a very long time. So he really needs to take his time, and once he's back, you're not sure if he'll be all the way back. So I think if you own him, you just kind of have to stick with them unless someone is going to give you like 90 cents on the dollar. I think you kind of just have to sit with them.
Yeah,
right.
We'll see how long it is. 10-day rest definitely helps. So thankfully, I mean, out of all the scenarios, it happened on Thursday.
Yep.
So,
and there's nothing really official out about it. We're all kind of speculating. Like turf toe is kind of a general and term. We don't know exactly how bad it is. We're just going on how people have dealt with it in the past. So, it really is all I guess.
Yeah.
Any word on Jamal Williams? He really took a hit last night. I haven't heard anything on his condition.
Yeah, he set out. He actually himself sent out some stuff about him being completely fine. don't know like an exact word from like a medical diagnosis. They said that he just said that he was completely fine after being at the hospital. Whether that means there's nothing serious wrong or he's completely fine and he was just shooken up, we don't know. But nothing serious. All feeling in his hands and everything. And also Maddox on the Eagles took that rough helmet to helmet from his own teammate at the end of the game. He also has a feeling in all his extremities, which I was worried about because I know on the broadcast they said he was moving, but I didn't see it. I mean, he was motionless, so that was a scary one.
Yeah. At least it was a good Thursday night game. Finally, the first 2 weeks weren't that good. This week came right down to the end, so at least it was a lot of fire in that game.
Yeah, the Green Bay Packers defense is the story coming out of that. I mean, at the first couple of weeks, everyone was really fired up about the defense. I was, but they had a couple of really big runs by Philip Lindsay and Dalvin Cook that really made their rushing defense not look as good on paper, but it looked like it could have been isolated incidents. And as they noted on the broadcast over and over again ad nauseum, they like to give up, at least with this defense, they like to give up rushing yards, but obviously not like this to Jordan Howard. And, so we'll have to see what that looks like going forward. If they're going to button that up or, if Zeke is going to run 200 plus on them next week.
Yeah, I'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
And you are a Packers fan, so I'll get your quick LaFleur rant in here. What do you got to say about the coaching?
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I feel bad for all Packers fans.
I don't want to talk. Mike McCarthy, he's worse than Mike McCarthy. He is worse. He comes in with a game script of a couple of drives and it goes well, and then after that, he just refuses to learn his lesson. It looks like he came in there with someone else's playbook. We all know who that is, and he doesn't think for himself, and he needs to adjust hard or he needs to go. And I think we all know he just needs to go.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah. No, it's not good.
So we got DFS week 3 to talk about. That game's out of the way. Hopefully, if you guys played DFS last night, you won. And Dad, running back slate I want to start out with. So we're going to get you guys some plays first, and then we're going to go to our ThriveFantasy. We are partnered with ThriveFantasy. You can use code FSFF to get $10 back whenever you deposit $10. So we're going to go over those plays. And last week, we hit on a lot of those plays. I will say that. We definitely did. That Jameis Winston 2.5 touchdown or interception. Very worked out well. It's a good call by Matt. That's that kind of props you need. So running back, Dad, give me who's your running back here? Going to go with this week that you like the price and what he's going to do this week.
For the cash lineups, I like 2 guys actually. I like Kerryon Johnson for the Lions. He's $5,400.
Just give one right now. So Kerryon Johnson, what do you got to say about Kerryon?
He finally worked as a workhorse back last week. He played 75% of the offensive snaps and handled 20 of 25 carries. He saw just one target, but ran a pass route on 53% of Stafford's dropbacks. So, assuming that the usage continues, I like Kerryon Johnson this week at 5,400.
You do. Let's say
one thing on him is people are scared off by looking at how many carries he had and how limited production, but he is second right now. He's seeing a stacked box, like 8+ men in the box, 47% of the time. The only guy with more is Frank Gore, which is weird. I would assume that has to do with Josh Allen as well, why he's seeing so many in the box. But Kerryon is they're stacking it up against him, which is a little surprising because Stafford's like first in the NFL in ADOT. So he's trying to go downfield, which you think would mitigate that. But they're obviously not the Lions. But if Stafford gets going, especially in a game like in the Chiefs game here, where they're going to have to be throwing a bunch, hopefully take advantage of, spreading the ball around like he did. Hopefully he probably won't see that stack box in this one, especially against the Chiefs who, give up, I think the league worst 6.2 yards per carry, which is pretty bad. Yeah. I wouldn't, any worry you have about Kerryon, if he gets that volume again, he should be in for a pretty big game here.
I like him because the Chiefs give up 6.2 yards per carry to running back. So I like that aspect. And then, like you just said, they're going to have to throw because they're playing Kansas City, because Kansas City is going to explode. They're going to score a lot of points. So hopefully he gets a lot of work out of the backfield also.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry too much about the game script because everyone thought, the Ravens were going to continue their throwing ways against the Chiefs. But Mark Ingram, 103 yards, 3 touchdowns. They can be plenty of throwing and Kerryon still do tons of damage.
Yeah, for sure. I like that play. And he's one of our buy lows this week. We mentioned that in the last episode where we recapped week 3. Get Kerryon before he does have a big game because the snap share I think is very telling, like you mentioned. So Matt, who's one of your favorite running back plays in cash this week? We'll start the cash games first, and then the tournament plays after.
To a lesser degree, I like Marlon Mack a lot at 6,100 only because there's no respect there. I mean, he's third in the league in rushing. He's going against Oakland. Nothing in particular I love about the matchup, because it's going to be a pretty competitive game, I think, in general. But with T.Y. Hilton out, they're going to be running the ball a ton. So Marlon Mack for 6,100 is a great play. I just think he's not priced high enough for the amount of volume he's likely to get. And in that same game, Josh Jacobs, 5,100, $1,000 less. Everyone's scared off by last week when he was just sick. He lost 10 pounds from being sick. He was nursing a groin injury. I would just put that out of your mind because it's obvious that John Gruden wants this to be his guy. He even came out and said he wants to force the ball to him in the passing game, which is fantastic news. So keep an eye on to see if he's feeling okay. But for 5,100 again at Indianapolis, I love that. I mean, just if you're looking for like a 3 times ROI in like DraftKings, for example, 5,100 is a steal for a guy like Josh Jacobs and the amount of guaranteed volume he's likely to get.
Yeah, I agree.
The upside of Marlon Mack, too, like you were saying. I mean, he leads the league right now with 61 carries, so that is another fantastic pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we're also affiliated with the Quant Edge, so you can use code FSFF to save there. And a little stat from Elliott's article, he said games where the Colts win by 10+, and I feel like this is going to be a game where the Colts are going to be up early and often. Marlon Mack's had at least 16 carries, and he's put up very good fantasy days, including games of 100+. He has 400+ yard games on the ground. So, and this year's receiving volume has been getting, compared to last year, it's a little encouraging for me too. So, love Marlon Mack against the Colts, and you're not worried. You think Jacobs is gonna get used in the passing game a lot more this week, just because of what Gruden said, or that's still a goal? He's a good pass catcher. So,
well, I think at 5,100 he doesn't even need it for the amount of volume. I mean, he can return investment on there easily. But if they haven't been using Jalen Richard at all. So, squeaky wheel type stuff. If Gruden says he's going to, I'm just going to go ahead and believe him because he's obviously in love with Jacobs.
Yeah.
So if he gets it to him, it's gravy. But it just for 5,100, he's one of the better bets on the board. If you want to throw in something cheap, because just the volume in the game script, everything kind of lines up for him. The only thing that would scare me if he wasn't feeling well, but there hasn't been anything all week. So it looks like he's back to normal.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And then they don't have Darius Leonard again this week, so that's a good little out for Jacobs. And I like Derrick Henry this week. I really do. I think he's priced in that range like Marlon Mack, and I think I'm taking a shot at him in tournaments more so than cash. So that's my tournament guy. And then we'll go to CMC. Are you playing CMC in most of your cash games this week, Matt? I feel like that's an automatic yes.
Yeah. I don't know if it's automatic. I try to fit him in where I can. Austin Eckler is really hard to shy away from for $800 less at Miami. I mean, Justin Jackson looked like a terrific buy, 41, but he's got the foot injury, so he's out. There's even talk of Melvin Gordon possibly suiting up, but he's not going to be doing a lot of work. So Eckler at 8,000 seems like kind of a slam dunk because even though CMC is fantastic, I do expect Kyle Allen to take advantage of that Houston secondary, so I'm not sure what to expect there. So for $800 less, I may try to force in Eckler, but you can't go wrong with CMC any week.
Yeah, no. Dad, you gotta give us a tournament play you like this week?
I'm gonna. This is for the squirmish people. I like Chris Carson. I think he's one fumble away from being on the bench, but I think it's a great matchup for him because it's a high-scoring affair against the fast-paced Cardinals. Pete Carroll says he supports him, so I like him again this week. But I do think if he fumbles again, I don't think you're going to see much more of him. So I'm going to take one more shot at him.
What's the update on Rashad Penny? I saw he missed a couple of practices again with hamstring. Is he going to be out again for sure?
I think he practiced today, but I don't know. I don't know if he's going to play.
Questionable tag, so no one knows. But he did practice today, which was surprising to me. So I like the Chris Carson play. I have him.
So I think you got to stay with him until you see Penny back. But I just hope he can hold on to the ball this week because otherwise he's done. And that's sad for me because I have him on a fantasy team too. I was real high on him in preseason, but he's one fumble away from the bench, I think.
You think one fumble away, Matt, or you think he's going to have
a... I think that I think they've already tried to go to McKissick. I think that is all you need to know, right? Yeah. The fact that they've even gone that direction. If he fumbles again, I think it's curtains for Chris Carson. I mean, Penny had an opportunity last year, and he went down. It's like he has the worst timing in the world. I think Penny could have taken this job away, but it's just bad timing. So Carson, against the Cardinals. I mean, if he has a great game, he can probably erase all the bad memories from the first couple. But yeah, he needs to have a good one here, and he should. So I like the pick too.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Penny's scared and he just gets nervous and injures himself at practice whenever he has an opportunity to get the whole job. Because I want to see him win it too. I think he can do some work. I don't know. Now, Matt, one of your tournament plays this week. Who do you like in tournaments?
I love Chris Thompson for Washington. He's only 4,600. I liked him regardless of any surrounding circumstances because I think the Washington and Giants game is going to be sneaky high scoring. A couple of really bad defenses in this one. And in Chris Thompson, if you take out penalties, I know if you look up targets or different stats, you'll get different numbers on different sites because some people have the actual official totals and then other people add them up based on plays with penalties, which, you can consider that like, all right, there was a penalty, but they still targeted him. So this number I'm about to cite will differ on different sites, but to the actual official NFL totals, there's only 4 running backs in the NFL who have over 20 targets: Alvin Kamara, Le'Veon Bell, Leonard Fournette, and Chris Thompson. So at 4,600 in a game against the Giants defense, in a game where Terry McLaurin is going to be limited or not play with a hamstring injury, I love Chris Thompson in this one. He's also tied I think he's like tied for 3rd in the NFL in red zone targets for running back. Just everything here is kind of lining up. So yeah, for that price, and I think Paul Richardson and Vernon Davis to a degree are also good targets in this game. But yeah, Chris Thompson for GPP at least, I love a lot.
So talking about that game on the cash side of it, I like Wayne Gallman this week too. I mean, the Giants did not sign a running back. They actually promoted a guy, John Hillman from the practice squad. So I expect him to get volume in this game. He's cheap. He's $4,600. So
yeah, I think he's a sneaky enough play for both GPP and cash. I like him. And just one thing I wanted to mention for Thompson, that's just something I liked about him, is that he's been giving you plenty of value so far, but he hasn't found the end zone, which in this one, he, especially with McLaurin out, there's a good chance that he may break through for that. That would just be a cherry on top. You can't break on it or bank on it. But looking at, like I said, he's facing the Giants week 3 against the Chicago Bears, who are obviously very good. He still managed to get 108 total yards with 4 receptions. So, I mean, that would have been just 2 yards. If he had gotten 2 more yards, that would have returned to 3 times ROI against the Bears. So just, Thompson has plenty of ability, even without reaching the end zone, to give you the return on investment you're looking for. And if he finds the end zone, he could just like blow up your lineup. So I do like him a lot.
Yeah, that's a good play. I really like David Johnson. I think he's in tournaments because 6,800, still under 7K. And Seahawks have given up 7 targets for 55 yards, 55 targets, 55 yards actually per game. To running backs, and David Johnson has 16 total targets this year already, and he also plays at least 85% of the snap in both these games, and I think the opportunity's there, and the Seahawks defense hasn't looked that great. I think it's going to be a shootout, so I really like David Johnson in tournaments this week. I think the opportunity, and hopefully he gets in the end zone.
Yep.
Now, we're going to move on to quarterback real quick before we go to the wide receiver. So, mentioned in that game, I'll start. I like Russell Wilson a lot. This week especially because the Cardinals defense is trash, and Russell Wilson has passed for over 300 yards in 3 of his last 19 games, and 2 of those games have happened this season. So I think this is Russell Wilson's season, and you guys already know how much I love Tyler Lockett, so that's my guy, and I just think he's going to take full advantage on this Arizona defense, and that also helps out David Johnson. So that's my cash tournament. I don't care. I'll pay up for him both play. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, start all your Seahawks. When does that happen? But literally start all of them. Yeah, I love Wilson. Stafford was my play here. He was my play of the week. If today it came out that there was a hip injury. But I mean, like I said, he leads the NFL in ADOT. He's going against his Kansas City Chiefs. He has tons of targets he likes. So that was the guy I like. But I am gonna maybe start rethinking it a little bit. Just because I want to see how bad the hip is. Assuming everything's fine, I still love that quite a bit. I know a lot of people are in on Phillip Rivers against Miami. I'm going to fade that a little bit too because it could become a blowout. I love Deshaun Watson because he is 6,400, kind of right in between the chalk, which I think Russell Wilson is kind of the chalk this week, along with Patrick Mahomes. Those are a couple of safe plays that are probably going to be really big. In between there in salary is Deshaun Watson going against Carolina, who is a kind of a middle-of-the-road defense, but Deshaun Watson is just this really explosive quarterback that could have a really big game. He has, he still has tons of weapons. Carolina's dealing with some defensive injuries, which should be good for Will Fuller. But for, again, 6,400, an ROI of under 20 is all you're really looking for. And that is a lock, I think, for Deshaun Watson. So if you're looking for a cash GPP play, I think Watson is a guy that is, even though he's high profile, his percentage of ownership will be down because of Mahomes, because of Rivers, because of Wilson, and because of the rookie show. Kyle, if you have Kyle Allen, Daniel Jones, all those guys are going to be getting a lot of ownership. So I think Watson actually will fly under the radar this week. So if you're going to if percentage of ownership is something you care about, I love Deshaun Watson this week.
I love Deshaun Watson. You helped us out in the group chat with me out in that trade. I got Deshaun Watson basically for Kyler Murray and friends. But, I mean, hey, I haven't had Deshaun Watson on a single team yet this season. He's my number one quarterback going into this year. We know Patrick Mahomes is doing some crazy stuff right now. You can't discredit that. People always talk about the values and stuff, but you mentioned Patrick Mahomes, and that's another play I like in both of them. But, Dad, I think you're going to say who I think you're going to say. But who's
what?
Play?
Well, you just said Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he can. You got to play him in cash games. I mean, I don't think they can make him expensive enough.
They can't
for what the guy has done. The guy, I mean, he's averaging 398 yards, 3.3 touchdowns per game. But enough about him.
Real quick before you get in here is we have a tool in FF Statistics where you can actually look at past ROI to give you an idea of how valuable a player is and how he returns value. And last year they just kept increasing Mahomes' price, and like you said, they can't make him expensive enough. He always returns value. He may not be the best play as far as putting together the lineup that is the highest scoring, because you're obviously paying a lot for him. You have to pay less for other people. But as far as an individual player returning value on price, they cannot price him high enough. He literally always gives you what you're looking for.
Yeah, he's insane. And real quick, I mean, Jalen Ramsey not going to play this week. I know, but I think I want him to go to the Chiefs. I don't know where you think he's going to go or if the trade's going to get done, but I really want the Chiefs to make a move and pay up for him. That way they can take down the Patriots. That's my main goal in life. And I think Mahomes can get one of his many Super Bowls he's probably going to earn in his career. You agree with that, Dad? Or not?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to go somewhere. Who knows where? Whoever has the money to pay for him.
Yeah, where do you think he's going to go, Matt? I know the Eagles could probably trade Jordan Howard in a first round or a mid-pick swap.
That's looking more attractive today than it did earlier. Yeah, I mean, I don't see how you can make a bet that's not the Eagles right now, because they are desperate. I mean, after getting that win on Thursday, they're back on track. You can be off track too early, but going to 1-3 would have been bad. And they are down yet another cornerback in theory. So yeah, they have to pay, and they have to overpay. So for the team that was already the favorite to get him, they desperately need to get him. So yeah, I can't think of another team that would make as much sense as the Eagles. So you got to stick with them.
Yeah.
I did like that rumor where they were sending Ertz down there, which is fascinating because that would actually be very good for the Jaguars, because for an offense where they already have some intriguing options, if they could add Zach Ertz, that actually would be at least from a fantasy perspective, that would be pretty exciting. They would obviously need more than that in real life, but that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think it'd break out Dallas Goedert. I have him on dynasty benches, so let's see that. Your quarterback play. Back to the quarterbacks.
Well, for cash, for me, it's a no-brainer. It's going to be Daniel Jones.
Oh boy!
I mean, the guy's cheap for 3 reasons. Okay, it is a risk starting a guy who's only starting his second pro game. I understand that, but 3 things: the price is cheap enough. The rushing ability. I mean, you see what he did last week. He threw for 2 scores. He ran for 2 scores. So he's not going to sit in the pocket. He's very mobile. And then the matchup. He gets a Redskins squad that sits 30th in DraftKings points allowed to QBs.
That's bad.
Yeah, that's bad. So, I mean, at $5,300, I love that. I'm going to go with Daniel Jones again this week.
I covered him all throughout my DFS article on FF this week. I love Jones. I won't argue with that at all, especially for value. I'm not that scared about it. He's young, and he's going to make plenty of mistakes.
Sure.
You even saw that when he gets under pressure, but I don't think that really happens against the Redskins too much. There's this thing out there of teams that are playing cover 1 in the NFL. The Lions are doing it half the time. Patriots 49%, Dolphins 45%, Texans 39%, Redskins are 39%. of the top four, either Belichick or three coaches that were under Belichick. So they're all trying to mirror him. And then the Redskins, who are 30th in the NFL in points allowed. So someone needs to stop doing cover one, and it's the Washington Redskins. And I expect Daniel Jones to take advantage of that.
Yeah,
I think you're right, though. This could be a sneaky, high-scoring game, but I think the Giants are going to win, and the Skins are going to still be winless.
Yeah.
I like stack Jones with Sterling Shepard or Evan Ingram. Yeah. Go to town.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. Now we're going to go to wide receivers, and you mentioned the Giants game going to be high scoring, and then it sucks that yesterday McLaurin popped up on the injury report. Hamstring injury. He's supposed to be a game time decision. I saw that. And other news, Davante Adams' toe injury is quote unquote not serious, is what the report is. So we'll have to wait and see.
That's good news.
Yeah, so that's some good news.
It's early though. We'll have to see how he does in practice. Then they'll really find out what's going on.
I was really hoping for Terry McLaurin to play, but he's not. And I think the obvious choice this week is Keenan Allen. I don't know how you don't play this dude against Miami, and consider Michael Williams just got announced out also. Just boost him up anymore. I play him in cash mainly, just to give you that, the floor of points. But it's just, he's got a high floor and high ceiling. Go against Miami.
Yes.
Just put him in your lineups. Don't even worry about it. So, Matt, who's a cash game wide receiver play you like this week?
I like all of the Arizona Cardinals. Yes. They are priced way too low for the targets. Larry Fitzgerald's 56, Christian Kirk 51, and Damiere Byrd 33, which I like a heck of a lot more before a hamstring injury. Targets so far this year, Kirk has 29, Fitzgerald 28, Byrd 18, and Keyshawn Johnson 16. But for the snap count, it's a 3-horse race. Fitzgerald is 211, Kirk 208, and Byrd 206, with Keyshawn way behind. Fitzgerald is $500 more than Kirk, which if you look at the targets, you may not totally understand why, but Fitzgerald has 4 catches for over 40 yards. So that big playability, an early look that Kyler Murray was giving him is where that price makes sense. So I think for cash games, Larry Fitzgerald is your play for sure. On GPP, I love Christian Kirk because I said that, he hasn't gotten the big plays yet, but, he's starting to get the targets kind of looking more his way. And Damiere Byrd going forward, if he's healthy, I would have liked him a lot more here. 3,300, and I expect it to be this way going forward. But like I said, he's on the field almost the entire time. And, as far as just a cheap return on investment, he's going to end up, if he finds the end zone or he ends up getting, more actual, looks, then this is just, an absolute steal. So I think you got to erase that from memory this week, because hamstring injuries are hamstring injuries. But Larry Fitzgerald and Christian Kirk, love them both.
Yeah, I like to hear that. I have them both in a lot of seasonal leagues, so it's definitely a smash. But Christian Kirk, one of my guys this offseason, just, fire him up. I like that play. Dad, give us a wide receiver.
There's only 3 wide receivers who have seen more targets than Kirk too this year.
That's pretty good considering he's going in the 5th, 6th round. Now,
and Kyler Murray's looked better every single game, continues to look better.
Yeah, I think this is the week he's going to probably shoot out. I'll take the over. I don't know what the over-under is, but if it's at least, even under 45, I'd take the over on that. Dad, who's one of your wide receivers you like in cash this week?
I like Tyler Lockett. I mean, $6,300. He had a quiet opener, but since then he's had 26 targets over the past 2 weeks. Only 6 wide receivers have seen more air yards during that stretch. I think he's in a great spot against the Cardinals secondary. And Lockett has played 61% of the snaps in the slot, and Arizona has struggled against slot receivers so far this year.
Music to my ears.
So like Matt said, start all the Seahawks. I mean, Tyler Lockett is no exception. 6,300.
Fire him up. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna go for a GPP play now, and I really do like Brandon Cooks. So per the Quant Edge, they said the Bucs gave up 110 air yards to Sterling Shepard and 107 air yards to Darius Slayton, and then 234 air yards to Curtis Samuel in week 2. So Cooks, guy who likes to go deep typically. He has seen 37% of the air yards in 2019 with average at the target of 13.8. So that big play just makes him an appealing target. And then if they also go up by a lot, you can use the Quant Edge's game script tool. They tell you about pace and then how the teams typically do or who they target and stuff when they're down by this much or something like that. So when the Rams were up by 8 or more, Cook saw 28% of the team's total targets. So I think you can see them up by 8 or more this week. So I think just fire up Brandon Cooks, and the price isn't even bad at all. Now, Matt, who's one of your GPP plays you like this week? You already mentioned Christian Kirk. Can you give us another one?
Curtis Samuel, which The only reason I wouldn't throw him in cash is just because I'm not quite sure. We only even seen one full game of Kyle Allen. But the Houston secondary, I target constantly because not only they get very torched by wide receiver ones, but just in general, they've allowed 16.67 receptions per game to wide receivers and over 47 fantasy points on DraftKings. The big thing here is who is the wide receiver one? Most people would assume DJ Moore, who would cost over $1,000 more than Curtis Samuel. So I'm just going to take the discount of Curtis Samuel, who led Carolina in snaps, routes, targets, and receptions with Kyle Allen on the field. So I think Curtis Samuel is tremendously talented. I think both guys are perfectly fine to start. Because I said wide receiver ones torch the Texans. Look at what Michael Thomas and Keenan Allen did to them. But then take a step back and look at what Ted Ginn and DJ Chark did to them. They just get destroyed by everybody. So both are good plays. But in GPP, I love Curtis Samuel for the cheaper price. And just one quick thing I want to talk about that there's not a whole lot here. But T.Y. Hilton looks like he's going to be down. And everybody's looking Paris Campbell's way as someone that you should add as a cheap option. But he's $4,900, which I don't consider to be any kind of a discount. That's $300 more than Curtis Samuel. That's $400 more than Terry McLaurin. When there's another guy on the team who has not only more targets, but more yards and a higher ADOT, and that's Deion Kane, who you can get for $1,700 less at $3,200. There's practically free against the Oakland Raiders. So if T.Y. Hilton's gone and you want to make a stab at something for GPP, look at Deion Kane, because even though Paris Campbell caught that touchdown and everyone's looking his way, again, Kane, more targets, more yards, higher ADOT, $1,700 less. I don't know why you'd pay up for Paris Campbell for as expensive as he is when you have a guy that actually has a bunch of positive metrics for that much cheaper.
Yeah, it's a very good point right there. I mean, I'd lean towards you. Fade the public, and then definitely go with Deion Kane. So, Dad, GPP play. What do you got for us?
So two guys really quickly, Sammy Watkins and Marquise Brown. Both of these guys had huge week ones. They really haven't done anything since, but the usage has remained awesome for both of these guys. Watkins has seen at least 21 targets over the last two games. Over the past 2 weeks, Marquise Brown has played 70% of the snaps and seen 22 targets. So the target shares are still there for both of these guys. I'll look for another big week for these guys. Maybe it'll happen this week, maybe it won't, but their price is okay. And the Brown secondary is banged up for Brown, so I think he's going to have a big game this week.
Yeah, I like that thought process. Now we're going to go on tight ends, last one. Darren Waller's my guy. I mean, the Colts, tight ends against Colts have success just like they do in Arizona, so Will Dissly I also like. But the Colts are allowing 24% of the targets against them to go to tight ends, and Waller is the team's wide receiver one, it looks like, through 3 weeks over Tyrell Williams because he's got the 26% of the team's air yards, and he's going on the field, and he's just got that workload, and he has that positive touchdown regression hopefully coming this week. I think he's a play in all cash and all tournament lineups just because you're paying up, but it's going to be worth it. So, Dad, I'll have you start with the cash game lineup. Tight end you like?
I like both of them guys you just said, too. I mean, Waller, I like you said Dissly. You didn't talk much about him, so this guy's been super popular lately, especially on the waiver wire, and for good reason. Right? He's posted 5 for 50, 2 touchdowns, and 6 for 62 over the past 2 weeks. He's totaled a solid 12 targets, and he's got an impassively bad Cardinals tight end defense on Sunday. Arizona has been smoked for 6 for 131, 1 touchdown by Hawkinson. Mark Andrews torched him, and so did Greg Olsen. So I like Will Dissly this week in cash.
All right, what about you, Matt?
There's so many to like in cash. I think paying up for Kelsey's actually fine at 7,200, but I definitely like Evan Ingram a heck of a lot more at 5,700. So, Darren Waller, I agree with the most. He hasn't even found the end zone yet, so I like him. Evan Ingram are two. I don't think I really need to get into too much detail there. I still think Greg Olsen is a good play at 4,200 at Houston, who Houston's actually been very good versus the tight end, but I think that is a fake stat based on the fact that teams have just been torching him through the air. Olsen's tied for most targets. So on the team. So I think that, if you want to go off the beaten path and not pay all the way down and not pay all the way up, I think Greg Olsen's fine. There's just so many plays at tight end. So, I mean, if I'm being honest with the audience, I'm probably going with Ingram or Will Dissly. But there's so many interesting options for cash.
There is. And now we're going to go on a tournament, and we already mentioned Darren Waller, Will Dissly, and Evan Ingram. So those are the main guys I'm playing. I'm not really looking twice about it. You mentioned Travis Kelce. But something to keep an eye on. Is it next week where Chris Herndon comes back? Or
yeah, Herndon and Watson.
Yeah,
Benjamin Watson.
He's available in one of my dynasty leagues. I was like, okay, I'll play this guy. Like, thank you. But definitely him. Delaney Walker looks to be healthy, so that's an interesting attack spot. You can maybe take a little bit of a different turn in GPPs because of the ownership. But I like Vernon Davis. You saw Jordan Reed's probably not going to play McLaurin now with the hamstring, and you mentioned it's going to be high scoring. So I think Vernon Davis is my tournament play at only 3,400. He saved.
And more importantly, who's he going to jump over this week?
Yeah, he's
or try to jump over. I guess though he didn't. One guy didn't bite this week.
Prince Nuguinara didn't bite. I think you're going to see who's going to probably hurt. I'm going to definitely probably go with DeAndre Baker, the rookie, because that guy is getting crushed out there. That's why I think McLaurin was just in a smash spot, but I can see him going down the sideline because Vernon Davis still has some speed somehow. I don't know how you're that old and still maintaining that much speed, but yeah, that's my tournament play of the week. Dad, do you think he's going to hurl any of your Giants this week?
No, I think Ingram's going to eat him alive.
I
like the other side of the ball. I picked up Vernon Davis for 1 week, and then that's a long story, and I dropped him. Vernon.
No, I thought you were making fun of him intentionally, calling him Vermin.
I do. That's what I do.
Okay.
I always name people the wrong names.
Yeah, my dad doesn't. I don't know. It's just your thing. But yeah, he's my play. And then the report just came out and said that Jay Gruden's probably gonna get fired if they lose to the Giants this weekend. So
well, he's gonna get fired then.
I think that'd be good. That means Dwayne Haskins is gonna be coming in, and I like that a lot. So Dwayne Haskins, look out for him. I think he's gonna connect with Terry McLaurin even more. So people think Terry McLaurin's gonna fall off. I don't think so. I think he's gonna just keep getting better and better because he's got his college quarterback back. I don't know. What's one of your favorite GPP plays this week, Matt?
By the way, I brutalize names all the time, too. I don't think I've called Teddy Bridgewater his name once. And for some reason, keep calling him Terry Bridgewater, which I don't know what the heck is going on with that. But TJ Hawkinson, I like a lot at 3,300. Yeah. He had that huge game versus Arizona in week 1, and then he kind of fell off the planet, which everyone's like, rookie tight ends, you can't trust him. But they're going against Kansas City, who we know this is going to be a shootout. Detroit's going to be Detroit is definitely going to be trailing in this one would assume. Kansas City has allowed NFL worst 8.7 receptions per game to opposing tight ends, 17.4 fantasy points per game. The matchup has a 54-point game total. Someone's going to score other than Kenny Galladay and Kerryon Johnson. I think TJ Hawkinson for 3,300 is a nice gamble for tournaments for sure. I wouldn't mind him stacking with Stafford even in tournaments. But again, this whole thing hinges upon Stafford's health. If Stafford's down, fade the entire ship, jump ship. It's going to be a bloodbath if Stafford's down.
Yeah, I agree. Report just came out right now actually saying that he's expected to play, so thank goodness. Stafford,
oh, he is? Oh, good.
Yeah, very, very good news to finish off your little segment there. So that was the DFS portion. We're going to go to the Thrive Fantasy picks now, and after that, we're going to have Matt give his 2 favorite plays this week in just DraftKings in general or FanDuel, preferably DraftKings. I think that's more popular, especially now that he's got a partner with the NFL, so DraftKings, I want to know 2 of his favorite picks, and you got to stay till the end to hear that one. If you guys are new and you guys are enjoying this DFS episode, please subscribe. You get to know whenever we go live. We do 2 episodes a week, do a recap midway through the week, and then we do our DFS plays with Matt. Hopefully every week we'll see how this future goes, but so far so good. So Thrive Fantasy, last week we hit a lot. I said Juju's going to get a touchdown. What happened, Dad? You got a touchdown?
He got a touchdown.
I had to guarantee it. I had to get that Juju guarantee. But I'm looking through the site this week, and you guys can use code FSFF to get $10 back whenever you deposit $10. And right now, I'm seeing DeAndre Hopkins 0.5 receiving touchdowns. I think this is the week he bounces back from week 1, and the over is 120 points compared to 80 points. I'm taking the over. I'm big guaranteeing it this week that DeAndre Hopkins gets a touchdown. All right, Dad, who's one of your picks you like?
I'm going to take Julian Edelman. 67.5 total receiving yards. I'm saying over.
All right. Matt.
I mean, he's with Brown out of the picture. I love Edelman on that team.
I'm a little scared of that one, to be honest. I don't know what Tre'Davious White's going to be up to, but I assume he's not going to be tracking down Josh Gordon. I think he's going to be. I think he might be stuck on Edelman.
So it's Randy Moss season, you're saying? Randy Moss this week? We're going to see some Randy Moss in action.
The only guy in season long, everyone, the only player I really am comfortable starting against the Bills right now, because those are just tough games in division, I like Dorsett. just because I feel like he's the afterthought for the Buffalo defense. But yeah, I don't know. I think Buffalo's very good. But I love Edelman too. I love him everywhere. So I'm glad he's back. But I'm worried about that game in general being like just a giant under in general.
Gotcha. Yeah. So nice little adversity play right there.
Yeah, it should be a good game. Two teams that are 3-0. I mean,
yeah. I think anyone flushing Buffalo down the toilet shouldn't be here. I mean, it's in Buffalo. It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Bills Mafia.
We'll see if Buffalo's for real here. It's a big game for Buffalo, that's
Bills
for sure.
Mafia coming out. All right, Matt, who's one of your picks that you like this week?
Looking here, we're looking at Marlon Mack, 62.5 rushing yards. I think I already talked him up earlier. Over. This game without T.Y. Hilton in it, especially now, it will probably be the Marlon Mack show for the Indianapolis Colts. So yeah, easy over for me. I would say he cruises past 62.5 with ease.
Yeah, that's a nice little pick right there. And it wouldn't be a father-son fantasy football podcast if I didn't take Tyler Lockett with the over on 0.5 touchdowns. He's going to get a touchdown this week, and it's 125 points compared to the under being 75. I don't know why they're doubting him. This total is going to be high. It's going to be a shootout, and full trust is in Tyler Lockett. I mentioned on our big mock draft episode, I said he'd be top 9. It's happening. We're in Tyler Lockett full form, Dad. Over.
He's looking good. I mean,
all right. Now give us another pick. Last pick. Who's your other ThriveFantasy pick that you want this week?
I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes. 23.5 total completions. Easily over. This game's going to be a shootout. Easily over. 23.5 completions.
I like that pick. Matt, last pick of the episode. What pick and what prop are you taking?
I'll go with Mitchell Trubisky. He's at home versus the Minnesota Vikings, 233.5 passing yards. I will take the under.
Whoa.
Mitchell Trubisky is very bad. And I think that Matt Nagy finally got the hint that he has a running back in his backfield that is pretty good. So I would expect against the Vikings that they're going to try to keep things mistake-free on Trubisky's end, let Chicago's defense do their thing and maybe run the ball the way that team probably should go. Tariq Cohen may even get involved quite a bit. But I think Trubisky, I'll take the under for him.
All right, yeah, I like that pick a lot. So if we give you 6 picks right there, you got to choose 10. You can use all 6 of us. Go against some of them, whatever ones you want, but those are our suggestions right at the bat. So use code FSFF to get $10 back whenever you deposit $10. So, Matt, it's the final segment. I want to give you 2 picks, 2 of your favorite picks this week in DraftKings. Who are you going to be playing? So start with everyone you want.
This is difficult because there's so many. So many of my favorite ones are injured.
Who are you going to have high
or somewhat injured? Yeah. I am going to say that my cash play of the weeks were Kerryon Johnson and Russell Wilson. So I think that with Stafford is going to be fine, but at quarterback, he was the guy I was definitely going for. So it'll be between him and Russell Wilson. So for quarterback, I definitely love those two. But Kerryon Johnson, I think everything is lined up. If you want like a start of the week, he's underpriced in a great matchup, tons of volume. Everything is shaping up for Kerryon week. So he's my favorite play of the week by far. And then those 2 quarterbacks I like quite a bit.
Gotcha. So yeah, take those. I'm doing that cash 100%. Getting some Kerryon in there. Because of Matt, wasn't going to play him right away. A little bit of nervous with the matchup. He convinced me. I'm putting him in my lineups this week, along with probably Christian McCaffrey and David Johnson, depending on if I'm doing cash or GPP. So where can they find you on Twitter, Matt? And what else are you doing in the fantasy industry? You already mentioned FF Mercs.
Yeah, FF Mercs, ffmercs.com. You can follow on Twitter at FF Mercs. I'm the host of the Daily Blitz pod on DF Statistics with Scott Michaud. You can find a lot of my stuff at ffstatistics.com. And the FF Charity League, which is going on right now. You can still bet on your favorite analysts to kind of win some free cash and prizes. There's like 3 different leagues. All the winnings go to charity, which is pretty cool. But you can follow that on FF Charity League on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Matt Williams, MATTWI77IMS, no L's, just 7s.
Just 7s, no
nice.
L's. That's the way to do it. And Dad, your Twitter's at Paul FSFF. Mine's at Justin FSFF. And then podcast Twitter's at FatherSonFF. And next week, we're going to be announcing a giveaway. Another giveaway. So if you guys want to, just follow the Twitters to stay up to date with when that happens. And yeah.
Just to give you a hint, it's another jersey, guys.
It's another signed jersey. We're doing that. And I think this guy's going to.
Well, now I want to know what it is.
I want to everybody try to guess. You might get an extra point, maybe.
Yeah. So tweet at it.
Try to guess what jersey we're giving out.
Yeah.
You gotta give a hint. You gotta
He's
show
gonna
it,
smash-
show out a hint on Twitter.
I'll give you one. Okay, we'll give a hint out on Twitter that he's someone who's doing very well. That's the only hint you're going to get.
That's the only hit.
It's a wide receiver who's doing very well.
That's a decent hit.
Corey Davis.
We're not saying. I'm
It's
just
in college, man.
You gotta DM it.
Yeah, you don't know. You just tweet it out. Tweet tag at FireSunFF, and then we'll put a jersey thing and reply to it, and guess what jersey it is. If you get it right, we'll increase the points that you get put in after the 5-star reviews you already get. So if you already submitted a 5-star review, you already got points for it. But yeah, stay tuned to that. Next week we'll announce it on the DFS show. So
Keenan Allen, that's my guess. Keenan Allen, let's go.
could it be Keenan Allen? About to find out next episode. Follow on, subscribe if you guys are new, and we'll see you guys next time.